If you ever looked in the mirror and you thought, I'm too fat to bulk and I'm too small to cut, then this is exactly who I made this video for. After coaching natural lifters for over 11 years, I see the same thing happen again and again. Good blokes, hardworking blokes, genuinely people that want to change. They want to build more muscle. They want to improve. They want to improve their physique, but they stay stuck because they haven't actually decided what phase they need to do. And because they never decide, their physique never really changes. So in this video, I'm going to help you understand why you're stuck, whether you should cut, bulk, maintain, go into some kind of performance phase, how to stop second guessing yourself and wasting months, if not years. Why most people are stuck. Most people aren't stuck because they're not training enough. They don't have a problem with the amount of supplements they're taking, and they don't have a motivation problem because they're already turning up to the gym. They have a decision problem. They spend 6 months not cutting, not bulking. You say you're going into a cut, but calories aren't controlled, protein isn't consistent, and the scales don't budge. You might get a couple of quick wins in the first couple of weeks, but then after that, progress starts to slow down. And then within a couple of months, you swap to saying, oh, I'm bulking now. Realistically, that's just not long enough to complete either phases, which is why you're staying yo-yoed, stuck in the middle, not really looking lean, not really getting any bigger. Don't even get me started on bulking. People just use this as a excuse not to be as disciplined with their food or training or cardio or activity in general. It's an excuse to eat like a dickhead, not prioritize recovery, and think just going to the gym, smashing themselves is enough to grow muscle. And what happens when you start to lose those standards, lose that discipline, and then you start to see the physique slowly get worse and worse and worse, you start to panic. And then you start another cut. And you can see how this vicious cycle just keeps going round and round. So you actually never truly make any progress. So let's start with why you should cut first. A cut is appropriate when body fat is relatively high, 20 to 25% for males, or around 30 to 35% for females. Females tend to sit a little bit higher with body fat than males. If you don't feel confident taking your shirt off, that should be another sign that you might need to lower body fat. If your health markers need improving, for example, resting heart rate variance, recoverability, performance in the gym, even blood pressure to an extent, all these things will be telling you if you are healthy or not. And then potentially we're looking at a little bit more science-based data here. We're looking at your insulin sensitivity. We're looking at your nutrition partitioning. Okay, how well are you absorbing, assimilating, and using nutrients? In layman's terms, how well does your gut and digestion actually function? Because if you're filling it with poor quality nutrients, that's not going to last very long, and it's not going to help you perform better in the gym and build more muscle. So the goal is simple in the cut: to lose body fat. Not weight, body fat. We still want to be maintaining as much muscle as possible, so what built you muscle will keep you muscle. You want to maintain your standards in the gym. We want to maintain everything else as much as possible. Sleep, training, recovery, the lot. What most people try to do is try to crash diet and get all the fat off within like 4 to 8 weeks. That might not be realistic or even feasible. You crash the calories, cardio goes through the roof, performance tanks, so you stop enjoying the gym, which is the one thing keeping your muscle, and then recovery starts to suffer. Then you wonder why you start feeling flat and small, and you feel awful. A successful cut requires patience, not punishment. Yes, there will be some sacrifice, but there is a little bit of leeway. So if you don't fit that category, when should we bulk? Now let's talk about gaining. The gaining phase is supposed to be there to build muscle. It's appropriate if you're already lean. For example, if you're a male between 10 to 15% body fat or a little bit lower, everyone's a little bit genetically different. And then if you're a female, around about 21 to 25%, you're probably relatively quite lean. If you're a little bit leaner than that, absolutely as well. If recovery is good, so if sleep's good, if you feel good, if energy's good, and if training is progressing nicely, if you are consistent, showing up and seeing PBs, that is a very good sign. And this is the biggest one here. If you genuinely need more muscle, if you got lean and you really don't like the way that you look, chances are you need to go into a bulk and build more muscle. That's the actual confidence issue there. That's the actual root of the problem. The goal is not eat everything. The goal is to create a small surplus. About 1 to 5% is ideal, but good luck trying to guess 1%. We want to use that surplus to allow you to build muscle with putting the minimum amount of body fat on, or basically unnecessary body fat that isn't going to help us. We do need to put some on. Most people massively overestimate the amount of food needed for gaining more muscle. Again, 1 to 5% surplus, it's not a lot. And a good gaining phase should be controlled, not chaotic. You should not be seeing wild scale weight fluctuations. It should be relatively calm. When should you maintain? If neither of those are really something you can go towards at the moment, and there's a couple of reasons why that might be the case, should you do instead? We like to say a maintenance phase. I like to call it a performance phase, where you're just looking to keep things ticking over, perform in the gym. You'll still be able to build some muscle, but you're looking to try and really get some foundations and keep them in a good place. This is normally quite a common thing that I see with new clients that come in. It's actually good just to put yourself into like a maintenance phase for a little bit so you can actually figure out where the foundations are. And it's a phase that most people ignore, and often the phase that people might need the most actually. Maintenance is ideal when life is stressed, work is busy, we just become a parent, got a new job, moved house, something that's very stressful, maybe changing your routine up quite a lot. Or if your recovery has all of a sudden become really, really poor, if your sleep starts to suffer, performance starts to suffer, it might need to actually pull you out of a bulk or a cut and put you into a maintenance for a little bit. The goal here isn't transformation, it's basically stability. You want to maintain body weight, maintain food, maintain performance in the gym, maintain habits, and behavior. Sometimes the smartest thing you can do is stop chasing that ultimate end goal and just take a second to recoup. Just temporarily, so you don't lose any momentum, because that's the thing I see happen the most. People overextend, push too hard, too fast, either way, and then before you know it, they've lost momentum and now they can't keep going. The biggest mistake I see, people quit phases far too early. And this is before you've actually got to the end objective. Like we were talking about, for males, it'd be 10% in a cut. They stop way earlier than that. So people stop when it starts to get maybe too hard or too hungry, and they bulk when they start to struggle with their body image. People stop in a maintenance because they feel like they're bored. And a lot of this is because your body will adapt and change a lot quicker than your emotions or your mental state. And that's why patience really matters. The best physiques are always built by people that can be the most consistent over the longest period of time. Not only does the data show us this, but I've seen this in my own coaching experience for myself and with my clients. You will not get there by consistently changing direction. If you're still unsure whether to cut, bulk, or maintain, I put together a full document you can look at on this Notion board. It'll help you clearly identify where you are right now and what makes the most sense for your goals right now. And if you're still unsure after reading it, then just drop me a DM on Instagram. If you give me a photo, front, back, and sides with your goal, and I will point you in the right direction. Now, what I would do is I would go through the document and figure out what your next move should actually be. Good luck.